Schweitzer.
Present.
Alderman Browning.
Present.
Chair Cone. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Narayan. We have 3 present. We have a quorum.
Mic on.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and approve the meeting minutes from our prior meeting, Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024. I'll entertain a motion on approval of the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes of Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024.
Second.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman of the 1st, seconded by the Alderman from the 9th Ward that we approve our meeting minutes from Tuesday, July 4th, 2024. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Narayan. Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Aye.
Alderman Browning.
Aye.
Chair Cone.
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Narayan. We have 3 aye votes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Has someone joined online, Madam Clerk?
No, we didn't have anyone online.
Okay.
There is now?
It does look like there's someone.
Okay, one moment.
Just want to make sure it's not one of the member, or if it is one of the members that they have to. Oh, Caitlin Smith. Okay. Thank you. With that, we'll skip board bills and resolutions for review. We don't currently have any on the agenda for today. We do have a few board bills on the agenda for next Tuesday. So heads up that we will be having another meeting next Tuesday at 9 a.m. But the purpose of today's meeting was to have a presentation from our friends at the Regional Arts Commission to give us updates on the ARPA funds that were sent over there in the mural projects. So we'll go ahead with today's presentation. Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you.
All right, good morning. My name is Vanessa Cooksey, and I serve as President and CEO of the Regional Arts Commission. I am excited to present to you today. I'd like to first read a statement and then share some reports with you. During the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, thousands of city residents and business owners emailed, called, completed surveys, and attended meetings to advocate for investing ARPA funds in the arts and culture sector to support its financial recovery. On September 22nd of 2022, this committee unanimously voted to approve Board Bill number 66, allocating $10.6 million to the Regional Arts Commission of St. Louis, also known as RAC-STL. You acknowledge the critical economic impact of the arts and culture sector. We generate $868 million in economic activity for our region. You also affirmed our sector's proven track record of uniting visitors and residents through shared experience. We received the money in May of 2023, and we are proud to share, per the reporting requirements of the board bill, that we have distributed all grant funds as of September the 10th, 2024. In partnership with our colleagues at the CDA, in just 15 months, we issued income replacement and tourism recovery grants to 190 individual artists and 60 arts organizations. Even more important, we had 0 negative findings in our monthly reports, annual monitoring visits, and our first federal audit. Promises made, promises kept. Over the next 2 years and beyond, the artists and arts organizations that received ARPA for the Arts grants will invite us to dream, hope, and see the beauty in our city. From the 28 vibrant new murals in every ward to the soul-stirring visual and performing arts that transcend boundaries, our artists and arts organizations help elevate our thinking and commitment to greater joy, reflection, connection, and prosperity. In addition to the reports provided here, I invite you to study the outcomes of these grants by visiting the ARPA for the Arts impact page on our website at racstl.org/ARPA-impact. We also look forward to hosting you at the St. Louis Mural Project Wrap Party this Monday, September 23rd in the City Hall Rotunda at 6:30 p.m. On behalf of RAC commissioners, team members, thank you for the opportunity to elevate and expand our stewardship by entrusting us with $10.6 million in ARPA funds. We look forward to partnering with you to invest even more money in the arts and culture sector, which will continue contributing to a safer, more fun, and more beautiful St. Louis. So, thank you for my opening statements. I'd like to turn your attention to the next page in your packet, which is a full listing of the RAC ARPA for the Arts grants that were distributed in 2023 and 2024. We were having to align our efforts with both the board bill and the U.S. Treasury Department's ARPA guidelines, which at times proved very challenging, but we were able to make both work. So according to the board bill, general operating support, program support, and artist support were the grant categories available to us, and the Treasury categories were revenue replacement and tourism. The first two lines outlined in gray represent funds that were distributed in 2023, and the remaining were distributed in 2024. If you'll remember, a 10% administrative fee split between the CDA, 1% for the CDA, and 9% for RAC was subtracted from the $10.6 million, leaving $9,540,000 for distribution in grants. On the next page, this report outlines all of the arts organizations that received ARPA funds, the organization name, whether or not they received tourism grants and or revenue replacement grants. If they receive both, they're listed in red. And so these organizations needed both support from revenue replacement and we believe will support our tourism growth efforts. Down at the bottom, you'll notice that the smallest grant that we distributed was $1,922. The largest grant was $600,000 for a total of $6,570,000. Following that report, you'll see the ARPA for the Arts artist grants. Same format, the artist legal name, the artist artistic name, if it is different, whether or not they received a tourism grant, an income replacement grant, and or both. Artists that receive both grants are listed in red. There are 3 pages in this report. And at the end, you'll see the smallest grant for income replacement was $800. There was significant eligibility requirements for income replacement, and the largest grant was $49,175, and that was for a mural. The next report is more detail, which I'm very proud of our team in partnership with the CDA to ensure that we met all of the compliance requirements. This is a specific deep dive into the income replacement grants that we provided. There were a total of 296 applications. This first page outlines the variety of artistic practice, with the most applicants coming from musicians and the least coming from opera. So very proud to have a good diversity of arts represented in our applicant pool. On the following page, it was very important, as outlined in the requirements of the U.S. Treasury guidelines, that ARPA funds prioritize QCTs, or qualified census tracts, and that was pretty interesting to navigate where artist lives and ensuring the greatest needs. So I'm very proud to report that of the 296 applications, 166 were eligible, and nearly 80% were granted in QCTs. The next page represents the applicants by ward. So there were 273 eligible applications. Again, 166 were approved. We had great coverage across all 14 wards, with the lowest being 33% and the highest being 88%. The next page for your reading pleasure represents the top 8 reasons why we declined applicants, with the number 1 being that they were missing some kind of requirement. So in addition to current residency requirements that they lived in the city of St. Louis during COVID, along with proof of loss that either voided contracts that were canceled during COVID, or that they just didn't live in the city. These are the top 8 reasons why we declined 130 applications to ensure that we were compliant with both the board bill and the requirements of the Treasury Department. The next page you'll see is the actual dollar amount awarded to QCT. So very proud of the 83.5%. So that represents the actual award amount. So we were able to get these dollars to the communities with the greatest need. And then the last page of this report represents the distribution of dollars by corridor. And so we organized by Central Corridor, the North Side, and the South Side. We do have a good number of artists that live on the South Side, and that represents the distribution of awards by corridor. Then last but not least, I appreciate your patience and listening as I walk you through all this good reporting, is our illustrative map of all the wards. This includes all of the local artists with their locations, and we are super proud of this project. The QR code takes you to our website, stlouisarts.org, St. Louis Mural Project. We have videos of each artist. We have pictures of the murals happening in progress, as well as the final murals. But I'm really deeply moved by this group of artists. We did a blind application process. And so when the artist applied, we removed their names and any identifying factors. We worked in partnership with you all to pick the designs that resonated most with the ward. And then once we finally came down to the selection of the artist, when I look at the breadth and depth of diversity and skill, some of these artists are first-time muralists. Others have been painting murals for over 30 years. Bringing this group of artists together has been historic. They've partnered with each other. Several of them have gotten other commissions as a result of their murals. The media, the positive earned media that we received, both at the local level, print, digital, radio, and even national media, has really been very helpful in uplifting a positive narrative about the great things that are happening in St. Louis City and with our arts and culture. So really excited to share this map with you. And the last thing I'll share is we have one more grant program that will happen this year, and it's called the St. Louis Film Project. So in the same way that we gathered artists to paint murals, we are going to be investing in the film industry here and partnering with the state's Missouri Film Office to help artists access Missouri film tax credits. But we will award 5 filmmakers who are producing films in the St. Louis community, in St. Louis City, with grants to help generate not only tourism, but also jobs for our economy. So we thank you very, very much for trusting us, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have about our stewardship.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Cooksey, for your presentation this morning. We'll entertain questions from the committee. Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate the thorough presentation and all of the work that went into this. It takes a lot to meet all of the requirements of the federal government when it's a normal day, and when it's American Rescue Plan Act and there's that very strong deadline and everything has to be done. I know it was a huge amount of work. I especially want to note Tracy Morgan, who managed, at least for me, the mural project and the board, and how patient and responsive she was, and just I think that she did a great job. This information, like I said, is really helpful. The question I have just about one of the numbers on the artist grants, the mural total is 24, and then the both total is 25, which is 29. So is there someone who didn't receive both, who's marked as both, or is there someone who should be in in the tourism, in the mural, that should be in just the income replacement category, or?
Correct. So the difference is some of our muralists partnered with other artists. So Samaya Sudith actually lives in the county, and so
Okay.
that's the difference. There were two murals in particular, number 12 and 15. These muralists chose to partner with other artists in helping them get complete, but they were not eligible, nor did they apply for ARPA funds. So it was just the primary person that's listed in this.
But they receive some sort of payment?
Correct. The muralist who applied for a grant received the funds, and if they chose to
Hire someone else.
hire others to help them finish the mural, then
They could.
that was their choice. Yes.
So that's where that number comes from. Okay, great.
Mhm.
And for the range of artists who applied, it's really interesting, mostly in the music category. This is the total applicants by practice for who applied.
Correct.
But is there a breakdown also by what sort of artists received the funds?
Yes, we can get that for you.
That's just interesting.
For sure.
I
For
would
sure.
love to see that.
Music and visual arts are very impactful in this region. We have amazing independent artists in music and visual. So this is definitely reflective of the category, the artists that live and work in St. Louis.
Well, I'm really excited about the murals in my ward. They're on Broadway, if anyone is watching in the first ward and haven't seen them yet, and they're just beautiful, and they add to an already incredible amount of art on Broadway, making it even more of a destination for folks. So thank you for being here. Thank you for answering my questions, and I appreciate all the time invested in them.
Thank you so much. And thank you also for acknowledging Tracy Morgan. We have 15 team members at RAC, including myself, and every single one of them has worked on ARPA for the Arts to ensure that RAC took on the administrative burden of reporting, of figuring out how to distribute these dollars in a way that was impactful. But I specifically would like to name Nicole Belford, Tracy Morgan, Chloe Smith, Ann Haubrick, and Jason Shipkowski for their specific work, both in design, communication, relationship management. But again, every single team member at RAC worked to ensure we delivered on time and with no issues, and was actually helpful to our arts and culture community.
That's what it's all about. They certainly needed the infusion, and I'm glad to see it reflected in our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alderman Browning.
Thank you. Just want to echo the comments. This was a wonderful, wonderful program, really excellently administered, and had just an incredible result. I also want to shout out Tracy and just everybody who worked with us. And I think the end result is something that makes our city a lot more attractive for visitors, a lot more interesting for residents, and helps brighten up some spots that, in the case in my ward, literally went dark during the pandemic. So not only did the business shut down, but also they painted the wall black before they left, which just left this real hole on the Manchester Strip. So, like Alderman Schweitzer all mentioned, the two in my ward are on Manchester. There's one on the side of Platypus, and I want to thank Tony Saputo and Meredith Berry for allowing Lisa Marie Thalheimer to put her beautiful mural on the side of that wall. And then the other mural was on the side of newly opened Atomic. And I want to give a shout out to Drew Jameson for being so willing to let that wall be transformed into the masterpiece that it is now. So I couldn't be more happy, but I'm sure the artists couldn't be more happy too. And I should mention Killer Napkins did the one on Atomic, and it's, if you haven't seen it, it's impressive. So I just think this was a perfect way to spend some of this ARPA money to replace the income and help artists who had been impacted by the pandemic, and to also kind of signify that resurgence, that reemergence from the pandemic. So if you haven't seen these murals, make sure you go out and check them out. And again, just for flawlessly administering this program.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that. I want to add two other quick points. One, on our website, as part of the storytelling for the murals, we're also going to add information about local restaurants, businesses that are near the murals. We launched stlouisarts.org in April, and so far we have 1.5 million unique visitors to this website. The top cities are Chicago, Dallas, Atlanta, and Orlando, I believe. And people are using this website. We have a really cool feature called Find Your Vibe. And when people come to St. Louis, they're using our website to plan their visits. And so we were intentional about putting the murals on that website versus the RAC website. And we'll also be adding restaurants, nearby commerce, so that when people come and visit the murals, we're also encouraging them to support local businesses. So I'm really excited about that. Again, several of our artists have received other commissions as a result of their work, so it's great from an economic development perspective. They're earning even more money with this visibility. And then the last point that I'll make and follow up to your comments is our artists deeply love St. Louis. I mean, you couldn't ask for better boosters and people who believe in our best and brightest days are still ahead of us and want to see our region and our city thrive. So please welcome artists to your work, because we deeply believe in the value and why it's a great place to live and work here.
Okay. Madam Clerk, is there any members that joined online? I see another person added to the...
One moment.
Oh, Alderman Narayan.
Thank you, Chairman Cohn. I just want to quickly repeat what I guess my colleagues have said before me. Thank you for the presentation. This was an amazing program. I was thrilled to be a tiny part of it, and my constituents are loving the two murals in the 4th Ward as well as murals throughout the city. So please thank your team for all their work on this. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderwoman Shamim Clark-Hubbard is not part of the committee, but she's present. Do you have any acknowledgements or anything you'd like to say? She didn't take a microphone, but she said that she's very supportive and echoes the sentiments of everyone in the committee. Well, for my part, I want to just express my extreme gratitude to the RAC, your staff members. I worked predominantly with Tracy and Nicole. They are just truly, so professional, and were really amenable to working with me and my community. I really felt it was very important for me to bring in my neighbors to have conversations around the selection process, both from the artist perspective and the location. And they bent over backwards to accommodate that. And I know that there were some pretty aggressive timelines, and they were able to accommodate me and my craziness trying to bring in my neighbors to this conversation. So I really do very much appreciate them and their professionalism and flexibility. We have two wonderful murals in the 3rd Ward here, one on Virginia and one on Merrimack. Marley Billy D did the one that was on Merrimack at Read a Book, and then 18 and Counting did the one that's at Virginia and Itasca. Virginia and Itasca has been a hotbed of other activity for a long time, so it's always really nice for neighbors in that area to see the city and our community supporting our artists, supporting our neighborhood, and bringing some vibrancy to an area that had otherwise felt neglected for a long time. And so that stretch of Virginia now has a new wine bar. It has a tattoo parlor. There's some daycares there, and some other businesses that are starting to invest. A new art gallery just opened up within the last 2 years, and so this is a really nice complement to some of the activity that's starting to build on that corridor right now. But really, it just made a huge splash for folks in the neighborhood to know that there's people out there who are paying attention, who care. And that, to be able to bring my neighbors into that conversation was just really a very awesome experience for me and my community. So I believe during the ribbon cutting at Marley Billy D's mural up on Merrimack Street, one of the things that I mentioned to the audience was the Regional Arts Commission is one of the first of its kind in the country. It was founded over, I think, 30 years ago.
40.
Yeah.
1985.
Gosh, it's hard to believe that was 40 years ago. But was that 40 years? But it was one of the first of its kind in our country in terms of having a publicly funded institution that works for the public arts. And so St. Louis has been a leader in the arts for a long time. And the other thing that folks don't always know is that the Regional Arts Commission gets its sole source of revenue from the hotel tax. And so, or at least a predominant source of its revenue is from the hotel tax. Obviously, during the pandemic, people were not traveling as much as they once did, and it was really devastating to the Regional Arts Commission. So I was really happy to be one of the cohorts down here who voted to unanimously support the Regional Arts Commission with this appropriation for ARPA funds. I am very impressed, like all my colleagues are, in terms of how you all were able to put together a program of work, scope of work, go through application processes, manage the data and the audits and the compliance components that you're going to have to do since they're federal monies. I don't think that folks understand how much effort and work that takes sometimes, and it is just very impressive. For those of you that might be watching online that would like a copy of the presentation, the clerk's office does have it. So if you would like to see it, feel free to email the clerk and get a copy of it. But otherwise, thank you so much again for coming down and presenting to the committee and sharing the results of the past 2 years' work of you and your team. It's truly something very remarkable and very impactful for our neighborhoods and city.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing you on Monday to thank our artists and take a historic picture. And I just have to give a quick plug. We do turn 40 years old in January, and we're going to have a big birthday party. And so I look forward to hosting you all and celebrating the impact that we've had over the last 40 years and casting our vision for the next 40 years. This has been a beautiful experience for us, and we look forward to partnering with you to do even more.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Much appreciate it. All right.
Chair Cone, to answer your question, no,
I'm
we
sorry.
didn't. Answer your question earlier, we didn't have anyone else online.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Madam Clerk, is there any testimony or written testimony from the presentation or for the presentation today?
No.
The only announcement that I have is that we have a TNC committee meeting next week, next Tuesday at 9 a.m. It should already be on the calendar letter. We'll be hearing some board bills related to the airport, and I'll follow up with any colleagues that might have other board bills that need to be reviewed and discussed and see if they want to have that on the agenda. Otherwise, could we excuse Alderwoman Spencer for necessary absence? And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I should have done this beforehand. Can I also just make note that Alderman Narayan was here?
Yes,
But
I
we
kind of.
didn't have him on a vote, so I just want to make note
Already
that he
done.
is here. Okay. And we can't do previous roll, so he will be on the vote for adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 1st, seconded by the Alderman from the 9th. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Narayan.
Aye.
Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Aye.
Alderman Browning. Chair Cone.
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer. We have 4 aye votes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. With that, we stand adjourned.